Okay. So it's live
Okay,
now?
we are live now.
Excellent.
Hello, Eric. I'm
Hello, Astrid.
nice to see you. Just to introduce myself, I'm Astrid. I'm from a web development company in South Africa. Just to introduce myself to the audience, Eric, I think you know who I am. Um,
Absolutely.
I'm based in Stellenbosch in South Africa, coming to you from the very tip of Africa. And we're just busy going into autumn and probably closer into winter, but we're having one of those wonderful late autumn days where the temperature is going to hit, well, it has hit 30 degrees today,
Okay.
but we might be as low as 15 degrees on Monday. So it's a little bit, and that's all Celsius. It is yes, it's one of those in between times. I see Armin has just commented, so he's there. We're hoping that there are a few other people also present. Right. Eric, do you maybe just want to introduce yourself and tell
Absolutely.
us a bit about yourself in about 2 minutes?
Yeah. So I'm Éric Bréhault. I'm French. I'm living in the south of France in Toulouse, nearby the Pyrenees Mountains. It's not far from Spain, and I've been involved in Plone for quite a long time. I think I started my first Plone project. It was an open source project in 2006. So that's almost 20 years. And yeah, that's been a great adventure. I've been working a lot with Plone for my job, let's say my daily job for my different employers, sorry. And well, since 2018, 17, something like that, I stopped using Plone directly. I moved to the front end development side, and I've been hired into a company that were not using Plone anymore. But I kept a lot of attachment to this community and to the product actually as well. So I'm still participating in the community. I'm not developing anything in the core anymore. I used to be a core contributor, but I'm not anymore. But I'm trying to help out when I can. I am in the foundation board. I've been there for 2 years, almost 2 years now, and I am also supervising the Google Summer of Code project every year since I think 3 or 4 years, and that's my way to be there for Plone and for Plone people, I would say. And well, whenever I can, I try also to provide some technical stuff. I mean, for example, I'm maintaining Mrs. Developer, which is a very small utility that people can use in front end to check out repository, so that when you're developing with Volto, you're using this small thing. It's super small, but I mean, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I can do. And yeah, that's me.
Sounds fantastic. Yes, one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you today is also the timing with the Google Summer of Code program.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe you can explain a little bit about how that works, the rhythm of the year.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. So we are now at the phase where the students have been selected and the project will start next month. But before that, every year, I try to gather IDs, project IDs. I try more importantly and more difficultly to find people to mentor students. So that's something I start at the end of the year, like in November, December, and by January we apply for the program, and then while we are meant to provide some IDs, the students start asking questions, proposing their own IDs, etc. And we end up having proposal in end of March, April, and then we select, yeah, April, sorry. And then we select the students we prefer. And the coding period is from June to, well, depending on the project, until September or October. Sometimes it can be extended. That's how it works. And well, the good thing is we are inviting the students to the Plone conference every year. Super nice, because that's a good opportunity to meet them, to try to, well, involve them in the community. That's obviously the objective of the Google Summer of Code is about that, recruiting new people, improving the diversity in the community, because we tend to be, the same kind of people, all of us, a lot. And Google Summer of Code is great because we get people from all over the world, very different profiles. So that's a good thing. I know it's a bit overwhelming sometimes because it's generating a lot of questions, a lot of unsolicited pull requests on different repositories. So it's something we're trying to improve, and we have some ideas for next year to make it, let's say, not such a burden for people contributing to the different part of Plone. It's important as well, obviously. We don't want that. It's very successful. So Google Summer of Code is attracting a lot of people, and sometimes they are a bit pushy. They're a bit it's difficult to face the amount and the amount of question. So that's something we want to improve. But per se, I would say Google Summer of Code is great for the community. Yeah.
Fantastic. And then just to confirm again, this is an open source community. So why is it so important specifically for an open source community to be part of this?
Well, it's important because the only thing that make Plone last for years is the fact the community is solid, the fact the community is robust, and the community is renewing. And if you just have a bunch of people that have been there for 20 years, well, year after year, you're gonna lose some of them because life, they move away, they go to another kind of technology. They are most sometimes they retire, simply that, right? And the community gonna shrink, as simple as that, right? So it's super important to make sure that we are attracting new people constantly. First, it makes the community stable over time, let's say, and also it is bringing new ideas, bringing new point of view, and that's critical. You cannot just rely on the fact that you've been doing CMSs for dozens of years to make sure you always have the best ideas about everything on this topic. It's not true, simply not true. So you need new people. It's super important. And as you know, we are not backed up by a large company like other open source project, right? So it's not like we have a bunch of employees that could be assigned to develop this or that. It does not work like this, which is great. I totally support this model. It's great, but it also make it very dependent on the, let's say, the global health of the community.
That's right. We need the energy of the people who see the value in the product that they are using. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, well, Google Summer of Code is one way to do so. Is not the only way, of course, because we also need to attract companies, like small companies that want to be, that are working on web development, and we want them to use Plone because they will participate, they will bring also energy and everything. So Google Summer of Code is obviously not the only way to do so, and we have to work on all the different aspects to achieve that, but it's one of the ways, yeah.
I see I have a question here from Brian. What is required to be a Plone mentor for GSOC, and how can one get involved?
Okay,
do you have to be one of the top people in Plone?
No, absolutely not. Well, first of all, we need to be clear about the fact that whoever is already a Plone contributor is very skilled. There are some technologies, solutions, frameworks, whatever it is, where the bar is not that high compared to Plone. Plone is complex. Plone is difficult. And when you've been facing all the difficulty to be able to understand Plone and make some development with Plone, when you've been to that point, you're already very good developer, that's for sure. So whoever is a Plone contributor right now, or even just a Plone, someone using Plone in his daily work, not necessarily contributing to the core, not even that, you're already capable of a lot, and that's way enough to be a mentor. The thing is, it's true that over the years, it tends to be people who are the most active in the community who have been mentors. And it's not good because, well, as they're active, they're busy. And one of the risks there is to burn people. We don't want them to be overwhelmed with the amount of stuff because they're doing, well, they're working, obviously, for their employers, or maybe they're self-employed, whatever. They are working also on developing plans. They are working for the community, like organizing sprint, organizing conferences, or whatever it is. So all of that is overwhelming, and being mentoring a student is one more thing. It's not a lot of work. Really, it's not. It's managing someone, having a weekly meeting, answering questions is not a lot of work, but it's still one more thing. And
Yes, that's right.
my idea there is we should probably try to convince people who are not the most active in the community. So people who are, let's say, the shy people who don't show up much, who are not doing a lot of talks or running to all the sprints, because those ones are very valuable. Maybe they don't feel legit in being like a key member of the community. There are no such thing as key members, but I mean, maybe they feel like this. And being a mentor is definitely a first step that they can take. It's a good way to give back to the community, and obviously they are capable of doing so. As I said, they're already very, very talented. So that's my point of view, and I'm trying to. So what I do is I just write to people and saying, hey, what about being a mentor this year?
Yeah,
That's
it
how it
sounds very
works.
much like you you put in quite a bit of effort to identify people and to contact them and bring them into the program in that way. At the moment, how many GSOC students are there, and how many mentors?
So we have 3 students, 3 projects, and 4 mentors. So normally you have 1 mentor per student. But Tisha, who used to be a GSOC student 2 years ago, wanted to start being mentoring this year. She didn't felt comfortable being the unique and main mentor for someone, but she asked if she could participate as a co-mentor. So that's why there are 4 mentors and 3 projects.
Oh, I think that's
So
fantastic. A nice system to have, you know, also then feels less daunting for that person if they can co-mentor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. A great program, and I remember meeting the GSOC students last year in Brasilia and listening to their great talks and just seeing their energy. It was wonderful. It really was. I think it's a fantastic thing, and thank you for all the energy that you and your team put in. Thank you for that. The Plone community is the better for it. I'm going to go to, I see, yes, we have a comment here. Teaching makes you better. That's
It's
always
true.
the case. That's very true. That's very
Yeah.
true. And learn from each other. I'm going to jump back to a question that was put into the comments earlier today, right from a different angle. Rika Pekka wanted to know, what's your favorite movie?
Okay, well, yeah, well, it's a complex question. Obviously, I don't have like one super favorite movie, probably not. But I would say that probably Blade Runner by Ridley Scott is one of them. It's a great book. I mean, it's from a novel from Philip K. Dick, which I love. I mean, I read a lot of sci-fi novels, and Philip K. Dick is definitely one of the great author there. And yeah, I love this movie because I was young at the time it was published, and it was such a shock compared to the rest. And now we are seeing a lot of sci-fi movies that are a bit in the same kind of environment, something a bit dark, a bit dirty, and everything. But that wasn't the case. As that was the first one like this, and for me, it was a great movie. I love the story about it, and I love the characters and everything. And I show it to my kids, saying, oh, you know, that's of course my kids and know a lot about Star Wars. We are big Star Wars fan in the family, so they've been seeing everything about Star Wars. And I said, yeah, this one is also like a super important step in the sci-fi cinema. And they were like, wow, that's super slow. That's not interesting. That's so bad, the movie. And I was super disappointed. But I understand that because it have been evolving over the year. But yeah, that's definitely the film I would put in first. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no, Blade Runner, I think, was a groundbreaking movie at that time. And I'm glad to hear you are putting a lot of energy into the education of your children and with the movies that you expose them to.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Mikkel. He wants to know, what was your first Plone conference and which one did you enjoy the most? Now you have to answer carefully.
Yeah. So my first one was in 2010 in Bristol.
Bristol.
And since then, I've been to all the conferences, but the one after Bristol. So I think it was in Budapest. This one I missed.
Okay.
And I also missed the one from last year in Brasilia. Unfortunately, I was in the first Brasilia conference. And my favorite one is, that's a difficult question, but probably I would say Boston. I love the Boston one. It was a great stuff. A lot of stuff were happening at this moment, and I mean, yes, it was a great place. It was my first time in Boston, and yeah, I love that one. But I might have a different answer tomorrow. All the Plone conferences are great, usually. Yeah.
Yes, that I've realized as well. I'm just going to add Armin's comment here on Blade Runner, just as a aside to your previous question.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go on to the next question, but that takes us back to GSOC. Johannes asking for mentors. What's the mix between front end and back end mentors needed? Do you distinguish between the two?
Oh yeah, we do, but we also do that for the students anyway. So some of the projects are using both, but some are purely front end and some are purely back end. So we mark it as such when describing the project. And well, usually the project as a mentor is going to be the people who submitted the ID. That's how it works. So they are obviously comfortable with. Oh, Daniel is there. I used to be a student last year. That's nice. So yeah, I would say that those last years it's been mostly Volto. Most of the projects were about Volto, but there are still some purely Python project anyway, and it's on you anyway. If you want to propose something, we are not rejecting anything. Like any idea is welcome. If you have an idea and you are ready to mentor it, you're more than welcome, and you will find a student anyway. So it's not like there is a balance or a mix which is required from the mentors. The mentor decide what they want to do.
And who are the mentors this year? Are you allowed to say, or do you keep that quiet?
Sorry?
Who are the mentors this year? Are you allowed to say, or do you keep it quiet?
Oh no! It's totally public information. So Jens is one of them, working on authentication system plugin authentication plugin. Another one is Raphael, working on the workflow manager support for Volto, and he will be working with Tisha on that. And the last one is Éric Thirer, working on Volto one as well. Which one is it? I don't remember the topic right at the top of my head, but I can check right now. Let me.
I think we'll find out at the conference.
You will find out at the conference anyway, but yeah, it's still interesting to know what are the ongoing project, because yeah, you might have some ideas or whatever. I mean, whoever want to support the students, is still important. So yes. Oh yeah, I remember now. The multi-column drag and drop. I mean, the multi-column row drag and drop system for Volto. So you can move around blocks by drag and drop. So that's also a nice one. And this one is mentored by Éric.
Yes, we're looking forward to having that functionality.
Yeah, of course.
We've got a question from Brian again. What advice would you give to someone starting in Plone?
Well, I don't know, because right now Plone is not one unique thing, right? And I would say that you could start with Plone being a front-end developer and do not care at all about the API, about the backend. You just run it as a service. Like I've been using Elasticsearch a lot, and I have no idea how Elasticsearch is implemented. I just use it. It's an API. I run it. It works, and I'm fine, right? So you could use Plone that way right now. It's kind of nice. And I'm trying to promote this to front-end communities. I'm myself using Svelte.js a lot, and I'm trying to push this thing like Plone as a CMS for a front developer, without encouraging them to go deep into the Python part and how the API can be configured. I think just that's a service. Use it the way it is. Just like if you could have something, a commercial offer like Content Stack or Contentful, but the difference is free, right? And you run it yourself. So that's just better, and you do not care about how it's done. So that could be one way to approach Plone, and I think that's something we should promote. And I know Victor is trying to push on that, and there are probably some marketing effort to produce as a community to try to attract non-Python developer to Plone, because right now Plone is a Python thing. It has been built by Python people. Some of those Python people became front-end developers, and maybe they are not doing any Python anymore, but originally they were Python. And I think we are missing an opportunity there to open up to more people. So that's one way to approach Plone, obviously, not being a Python developer and willing to have a CMS backend, right? And another one, obviously, is the one we've been always practicing over years, and being a Python developer, needing a good web platform. And in that case, well, it start with the beginning. You start with Zope, with all the different components, and actually it's quite fascinating. I've been teaching a lot of people about Plone, colleagues, junior colleagues, and it's kind of fun to see how it goes. Some people are just immediately fascinated by the thing, and that was my case. When I discovered it, it was like, wow, that's crazy. I love it. I love the fact that there is no SQL, for example. It's not like, no, I don't like SQL at all, because it's too simple, too obvious, a bit is not elegant. And the way we are managing the persistence of the information in Plone through Zope, the ZooDB, is absolutely great, because you're just storing objects and they're there, like they're living objects. And I often say that the ZooDB is like a zoo, like where you can put living animals into a place, and you store them. Basically, they are living stuff, living object, and you can visit them whenever you want, and they're going to be those living things. The ways, whereas SQL to me is more a dead thing. You take the object and you put it apart and store all the different information into small cells like bones, and it's not living anymore. It's dead, and you're gonna bring it back to life, but it's fake lives, are zombies, right? I don't like them. And I prefer my object in the ZooDB, really. So some people, they see that and immediately it's like it's a match, right? And some people are like, wow, that's so crazy difficult, and I don't want that. So yeah, it probably depends a lot on what you've been doing before, what you like, if you like a lot complex patterns, or if you like very simple code. But yeah, that's how people approach Plone usually, I guess. I don't know if I answer your question properly.
Yes. Thank you, and I look forward to implementing some of those things in my role in the marketing team. Now I wanted to ask you what your plan is with the train ride, the European Hitchhikers train ride to
Yeah.
Finland. So if you can tell us a little bit more about that so we can start making our bookings and make sure that we get on at the right station.
Yeah, well, I'm not totally sure yet about the station I'm gonna go through anyway. I've been trying to evaluate different paths. I will definitely go to a travel agency. I don't think I've been to a travel agency since last century, really, because we don't need that
Yes,
anymore, right?
that's right.
But
Although, if I can just interrupt you, I just want to give a bit of background to those who haven't seen the community post that you've posted. Plone Conference is in October in Jyväskylä in Finland. And there is definitely a bit of a drive to try and do it as environmentally friendly as possible. But also, I think your idea is not just the environmentally friendly side of things, but also maybe as a social thing or as a travel idea. Um, so you first thought of going on your bicycle to cycle. I assume you cycle a lot, and then you suggested the train. So the idea is for you to get from where you live to Jyväskylä by train, and then
yeah,
you opened it up to the community and said, "Who wants to join me?" Okay, so I've interrupted you. You were at the
no,
point where
for sure.
you are going to the travel agent.
Yeah. That's my plan because it's so I've been doing that already to go to the Sorrento event during that was during the COVID thing. So we didn't add we had an online conference, and there were what we call the fan zone in Sorrento. So Sorrento is near Napoli,
Mm-hmm.
so south of Italy, and I've been there by train from France. It was already a bit complex, and I've been facing some difficulties planning that, right? And yeah, I found out by myself. I didn't need an agency to find out how to go to the south of Italy, but already it's challenging. And I mean, Italy is directly connected to France, right? So to go to Finland is way more difficult. And I will try to find professional advice on that. But yeah, it's also fun to try to find out exactly how it can be done. And one of the purpose there is to well to show that it's possible. We can do it. We can go from one in Europe. In Europe specifically, we are very lucky with that because we have small countries. They are well connected, and you can go from one point to another by train kind of easily. And I think we should do that more than we can because plane is polluting a lot, and when you can do it differently, it's good. Obviously, I know that train is more expensive, which is crazy. I mean, it should not. It should be cheaper, but it's not the
That's
case.
right.
So, as someone who can afford it, I will try to do it. And then, yes, it's gonna take time. So I need people with me to not get bored too much, right?
Yes.
That's the thing.
Well, it sounds like an excellent idea with some networking before and after the conference in a very fun way. And that's
Yeah,
also the one thing that everyone mentions about this community is that it's such a welcoming community and that we do fun things. So that would, I think, definitely be something that would fall into that category. We look forward to hearing what your plans are, and everybody
yeah,
keep your eye on the community.plone.org feed and have a look and see what Éric is planning, and then see where you can join him.
yeah.
Then I have a question. Johan wants to know what's the story behind your T-shirt.
Oh well, there is no specific story behind this t-shirt. I love t-shirts. I have a lot of them. And this one is using a goose character from a game called Entitled Goose Game. I don't know if you know about it. It's a small game. It's a funny game where you're a goose and you're supposed to interfere as much as you can with human activity. So to annoy them as much as you can. That is the goal of the game. It's simple. It's as simple as that. Is a bit like it's a bit revolutionary, let's say somehow. So the goose represent how you can somehow hack the society. let's say.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's the thing.
And then David Glick wanted to know what else he can use for presenting his slides instead of T-shirts.
I maybe Goose could be a way. No, I don't know. So yeah, because I did a talk where I were using T-shirt to instead of slides to illustrate what I was saying. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any idea right now about how I'm gonna present my next talk on a funny way. But yeah, I try to find some stuff.
We wait in anticipation. Brian wants to know if you and the AI bot have settled your differences from PloneConf 2023.
From Plone, sorry, I'm a bit lost. What's exactly what it means?
I think, did you not give a talk about AI and Plone?
Oh yeah, in 2023. Yeah, I was 2024 because I was not there. Yeah, yeah, we had kind of a fight, but it ended up. I mean, I can always clean up the local storage, and the AI is like burn. So I always win at the end.
Oh, well, that's the most important. That's the most important.
Yeah, but I
And
think
then,
it's important
mhm.
because I mean I was trying to illustrate. I'm sorry if I can go on that, but
No, yes,
I was
yes.
trying to illustrate in a funny way that people tend to put too much expectation on what AI are and what AIs are doing. AI service chatbots mostly they feel like it's human-like, which is not. It's totally not, and I can tell because I'm working in an AI company, right? and I think it's important that we keep it clear that we will not replace humans that easily that way. And I was trying to make things the opposite. Like you can have a fight with an AI and it can criticize you and even insult you. And but we're not there, not there yet.
Yes.
No.
I know yes, yeah, Brian said that was the name of the talk, just to remind you.
Yeah.
I know we've started to have that conversation in the steering circle about the AI policy of the Plone community. And if anyone wants to get involved, please make contact. And yes, we need to start somewhere. This is something that's not going to go away. We need to know how to handle it within the community and to make sure that things are done in the best way going forward. Because AI seems to be changing things on a weekly basis. It feels tricky to stay ahead of it.
That's for sure. It's complex at many levels, and I think we should. So communities like us, well, first we have problem with intellectual property. Obviously, that's kind of obvious. That's the first thing you can imagine. Also, I know some communities are facing difficulties with the fact that AIs are reading their code massively. So they cannot face the traffic generated by bots, which are there to index the code in order to train AIs. So yes, it's definitely a concern, and we should be careful with that. And yeah, obviously a big concern.
In your role as foundation board member, you've been a foundation board member now for 2 years. Is this one of your focus points as your role on the board, or what do you see?
Really. I mean, as a board, you mean?
At the board,
Myself,
yes.
well, not really. And that's something maybe it's not totally clear to everyone. I know it's been discussed during the steering circle. The foundation is not there to tell the community what they should do about this or that, about such technology or such technical choice, or so the foundation is providing support to the community. So technically, what are we doing? We are well defending the Plone brand. the Plone, wherever there is a copyright from Plone, well, that's our business to make sure everything is respected properly. And yes, on this regard, AI is a bit overlapping on this, but that's not on us to define how people should work on Plone. It's not on us. When I say us, I mean the board, to define anything about how Plone should be done, and
that's
how
right.
the community should be. It's important. The community is free to do whatever.
That's right. Yes, it's very much an oversight role that you have, that the board has over the community. It's oversight.
Yeah,
for sure.
And yeah, we are not the boss. Let's say totally not. And sometimes it feels a bit like that for people outside of the board. We're totally not that. Really not.
But it's good to have that request and suggestion come from the board, and I think there'll be a lot of conversation around that. Okay, let's move a little bit away from all of that again and ask you, what are some of the things you're passionate about outside your work, outside the Plone community?
So one thing I love is, well, I read a lot. Well, it's not super original, but yeah, I'm reading a lot, and that's one of the things I do the most when I'm not working and not sleeping. But my hobbies would be definitely, one of them is sewing. Using fabric and building stuff. Yeah,
okay.
I love that. I learned that with my mother as a kid, and since then I never stopped. And I'm not super gifted. Obviously not. I would never be at the Fashion Week showing what I've been doing, but I just love it as a hobby, right? So yes, that's something, and it's kind of close to what you do with computers. Actually, I love the fact that yeah, you take fabrics and you assemble it in some ways by sewing such way or such way, and then you turn it on another way, and then you get a shape. You get something which looks good, and the colors fit well, and all of that. And it's a bit for me like assembling code somehow. There is this logic of you are doing something super technical, and it results into a creation. And I just love this. It's very satisfying. I love
and
it.
It's your version. It's something that you've made. Have you got something that you've have to show us that you've made?
Oh yeah, I have. Well, it's not great. I mean, it's just a small thing, but it's to put my laptop, right? So it's just a pocket to put my laptop. So you can you can put it there, and there is I can put some pencil or whatever. What is there? Yeah, notes and stuff like this. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I do. Not much. I mean, yeah.
So there might be an Éric Bréhault brand coming out soon.
Probably not, but yeah, I would love that. So yeah.
I see David Gleck says some of the first automated machines were looms.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly that. And the code with holes on a small board. This principle was used initially for looms. Yeah. So it's very much about, it's definitely implementing an algorithm. Like the machine automatically, you put some code, the holes on the board, and it results into something that the machine gonna do automatically. So this is that's exactly that's very close. Absolutely.
What machine do you use? What sewing machine?
Well, it's a regular one. It's it's quite good. It's not too fast and not too difficult to master, so that's a good thing for me. And but yeah, I mean, a regular one. I don't have the complex stuff where you can do crazy things like no. Yeah, I have something kind of simple.
Sometimes the basic ones are the best. That you want to sew in a straight line. That's what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. Do you talk about it a lot? Does the rest of the community?
Well, I do from time to time. So I love to offer to my friends some stuff I did like this. So yeah, that's not a secret. It's not a secret.
Okay, no, that's very interesting. And then what piece of advice have you received in your life that you found particularly valuable? Is there somebody that gave you a piece of advice at some point that
Yeah,
that
well,
you
sure. I remember as a young developer, right? So yeah, more related to the work environment and life at work, is that you should never be afraid to work with someone who's better than you. When you are in a position in a company, you might feel like if someone is better than me, they're gonna steal my position. I'm gonna be maybe pushed back to a lower position, or even fired if I'm not better than everyone else. And that's a big mistake. I mean, whenever you can collaborate with people who are smarter than you, it's always good. If you are in a company and you feel like you're the best one, you're not in the right place. You should try to find a place where you are amazed by the people around you, and it's not a threat. I mean, it should not. And that's something great, and that's also something I add with the Plone community. When I joined the Plone community, I was amazed by the amount of people that were so much smarter than I was, and that was a great thing because I was with them. I was accepted there, right? And I know that a lot of people are suffering from the imposter syndrome. The thing is, everybody has that, right? And if you don't have it, you're not doing good. You should feel like you're not you're not as smart as the other one, because that's the best way to progress. And of course, you should not suffer from it. You should see it as an opportunity to progress. And yeah, I've been collaborating with very, very smart people, and that's great. And I'm trying to be also a source of inspiration for others the same way. I mean, you cannot be good at everything, so always you're gonna have people better than you on something specifically, and you will learn that. And if you do not learn, at least you get support. You get someone helping you doing your stuff, right? So
exactly.
that's super important. Yeah.
No, I like that. You should. I'm just going to repeat what you said. You should never be afraid to work with someone better than you. That's good advice. I see we've had some discussion about, so I assume it's about the sewing machines. First, Mikkel was talking about that, and I assume this was also about sewing machines.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So about Eibar, I thought they were specialized in weapons, but okay, maybe sewing machines as well. So, weapons and bikes, actually, if I remember
Weapons,
well.
bikes, and sewing machines. What a variety.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a lot of variety.
We have another question here from Johan. If you had to show a visitor your hometown, where would you take them?
Oh, I take them always the same place in Toulouse. So Toulouse is an old city made of bricks. And in France, we call it the pink city because everything is made of pink bricks. And there is one special place which used to be, let's say, palace of someone important in the city, which is now a museum, and you can freely enter the courtyard, let's say, and it's crazy beautiful. And it has been built in the 16th century. And when I see it, every time I feel like, okay, it looks as amazing and yeah, wonderful as what ancient Greeks and Roman people were building during the antique age. And it's been 1,000 years before we've been able to do this kind of quality work. So it takes a full Middle Age to be able to do it again. So I'm always wondering when going to be the next time that we're going to see something and think, okay, it has been 1,000 years between the time we've been because yeah, we don't know what's next, right, in our civilization. So we need to be aware that it might went away at some point. So yeah.
Yes, that's right. I've just had a quick look, and it does look amazing. Look forward to visiting it. Not if, but when we ever come and visit. We do like to travel a lot, so we'll definitely put that on the list. I'm not sure if we'll join you on the train straight from there, but that is an opportunity to do that.
Well, we have a lot of South African people visiting us, and even a lot living in Toulouse because it's a big place for rugby here in France.
Ah, I see. Yes,
So
rugby
yeah,
is big.
yeah.
Rugby is big. We've had much discussion here about sewing machines being a weapon,
It is.
and much agreeing about that. I see. So it looks like it was a conversion. The shotguns, the companies making that then went over to, yes. That's always so interesting what industries are connected. Um, what do you wish more people knew about Plone?
Oh, well, what they don't know. I mean, people outside of Plone, you mean, or inside Plone?
Let's start with people inside of Plone.
Inside of Plone. Okay.
Yes. What do you wish more people knew about it?
Well, this one is complex. I think a lot of people in Plone, as I was saying, they are kind of doomed to know a lot about Plone before being able to operate with it. So they know a lot, probably. What maybe they do not know much is the history of how it's been built and developed, starting from ZOP and all the steps that have been. All the history of it is super interesting because if you go through the version of Plone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., you see how stuff have been evolving and how some decisions have been made because of what have been made just before, and you try to fix something, and then you end up with something else. And the history of it is very interesting. I remember so my first Plone project was called Plomino, and he was trying to mimic what was called at the time Lotus Domino, which were an IBM product. And by implementing it, I end up producing the same kind of, let's say, limitations that Lotus Domino, so the IBM product, was having. And I realized it was because the feature I was trying to achieve were kind of condemned to end up in such or such way. And you cannot just escape that. And there are some kind of, let's say, big rules or structure that are intangible somehow. And so what you get right now as being Plone is a result of all those paths that we've been through and fix and, well, go through again and again and again. And it's super interesting to see that. And I learned a lot going back into the past. Well, for some of the history of Plone, I was there. Some part of it I was not because I joined in 2006. And it's very nice to, that's something that is helpful even when you're not working on Plone. I've been also working with other CMSs or other platforms or other kind of system. And yes, you see, oh, this Django CMS thing is doing this totally wrong because. And I know because I know about Plone. And this is great. I mean, you learn a lot through the history of a software. So maybe this is something that people in Plone should spend a bit of time on it. And maybe some people could do some talks about that because it's super interesting. Super interesting. Yeah.
I see Fred is calling it software archaeology. I like that concept.
Yeah. It is a bit of that, yeah.
That's definitely something that I've done a bit of myself as well in the last few months, because we've worked with Plone for a very long time in our company, but I've become a lot closer to the community. But to understand it better, I did a bit of a deep dive, just internet search, and there's so much history and information out there, but it's all over the place. I know we have some repositories where it is, but it's not really accessible to someone out there. We should have someone do a PhD on the history of Plone, and then they can put it nicely packaged for us in one thesis. I remember at Plone Conf in Brasilia, Alexander was talking about, Alexander Löchel, he was talking about, do you remember the sprint in the castle? And then there was a video about that. So then there was a search to try and find that video, because sometimes if one isn't careful, then those sort of things get lost. So yes, archaeology, and then yes, it would be nice if someone could do that as a project. And also a very good suggestion from you to maybe do a talk, or have a few more talks with that in mind. That's an excellent idea. And then while we're talking about the history, maybe I can jump ahead and say, what are some of the trends or developments that you anticipate for Plone going forward?
So I cannot just, I'm not involved enough in Plone development to have an opinion on that. But one of the things I was mentioning that earlier is Plone as a headless CMS for front-end developer is something. So the idea there is to extract from Volto just the part which is able to connect to the backend and provide data easily to a random front-end layer, right? And this is something that could be a game changer, because it could open up Plone, as I was saying, to other communities a lot. And I know, so Victor is working on this. We have the Plone client package that is doing this. It's not entirely independent from React, for example, but close to be. And even though it's not a big blocker if you want to use it with another front-end framework. And this is something I would really love to see happening in the coming years. I don't know if we're going there. The thing is, the initial idea with splitting the front end and the back end was about, well, first, separation of concern, making sure that all the rendering is done at front end level, because it's meant to be done. I mean, it's probably easier to do it so, even though some people might disagree. Some people are using, for example, HTMX, where you have the backend still sending some bit of front end directly to the browser. I mean, it's still possible. I'm not saying it's the ultimate solution for everything, but yeah, separating stuff make it easier to manage complexity. And the thing with Volto is we have been involved re-implementing all the UI for managing the content and the UI to render the content all together. Obviously, it's a win in terms of implementation. It takes less time because you have the ability to see what you're modifying directly. So that's good. But at the same time, it is, well, bringing back all the complexity we add on the backend at the front end level, and that's a blocker for people to adopt Plone. People who could be just a simple React developer, they need to take a lot of time learning about Volto before being able to do something simple, just like a theme, right? So that's probably we could have a solution to make sure that we don't have this blocker, and that could be something nice. But yeah,
that sounds good. And then just on a personal level, is there a new skill or a field of knowledge that you yourself are actively trying to learn, or are thinking of learning? Is something new that you that you have in mind on a personal level?
On a personal level, I'm trying to improve my chess level. Because I play chess. I love it, and I'm trying to improve that. But yeah, it's not related to programming at all. On the programming side, I've been I've been trying a bit Rust, and I was not seduced. I mean, I see it's great. I see how much better it is, and let's say more comfortable it is compared to C or C++. So I understand the value of it, but yeah, it's not my thing. And yeah, I'm definitely a front-end person. So I'm keeping an eye on everything new on the front-end level. And so the framework I love right now is Svelte. I like his elegance and simplicity. but yeah, I'm always attracted to this. I don't know why exactly. I love the magic of it. I love the fact that, well, when you're doing the backend, is like all you're gonna achieve at the end of the day is to send some bunch of JSON data through a channel, a port on a server. Well, nice, but nobody gonna say, oh wow, that's so great. And I mean, not a lot of people gonna do that. But when you do something super shiny on the UI and you see the users amazed by the thing, like, oh, this button was broken yesterday and now it's doing amazing thing, it's a great reward. It's so, yeah, it's so satisfying for me to see, oh, now they understand how they can use that, or they see they can do this or that. And achieving that through the UI is nice, because it's any person, any user gonna immediately understand what it is about. And that's cool. So that's my angle. And so everything I learn is usually around that.
A nice endorphin hit for you.
Yeah.
Well, we have some comments here about your chess. Nickel is an international chess arbiter, and he says
I know
he is pushing for a Plone Conference chess tournament. So together with a train ride, there might be some chess on the train. How about some chess on the train?
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that.
And Armin's comment. Cooking up some nice front end. Then back to that video of the sprint in the castle that we were looking for. Armin says it's in that Zotero that he told me about a while ago. So let's see if we can find it and share it to the community. Yes, so I think we will wrap this up. We're almost on an hour. If there's nobody else with any other questions, then I think we're going to say thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you to you. It was nice.
Great to get to know you a little bit better, and thank you again for your time and your energy that you put into the Plone community. That's what it's about. It's about people, and it won't exist otherwise.
Well, anyway, as it was your first Ask Me Anything as a host, Astrid, you did great. I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. And we'll see each other soon. Thanks everyone who attended, and thanks for your questions. Goodbye.
Bye.